On May 2022, the media was shocked at the news coming from Los Angeles, United States, when Peter Kalmus, a data scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, shared some horrifying information about climate change, which was later shared to social media multiple times before he got arrested. But before that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rose Jahroni from MTS Pembangunan Jakarta. And today, the single most important thing I want to share with you all is regarding my theme of speech. Aircraft heavily impacts climate change. Should people still be allowed to own private aircraft? So as we all know, the climate change is getting worse and worse as time passes. The factors of climate change are such as greenhouse gas effect, ozone layer damage, and etc. But despite the fact, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that aviation actually plays a massive role in climate change? So, to begin with, actually, aviation contributes around 4% to the human-induced global warming, more than most countries do. So when jet fuel burns, it produces carbon dioxide and non-carbon dioxide with emissions which include nitrogen oxide, soot, water vapor, and also sulfate aerosols, which will later interact with the atmosphere and give an effect to the climate in different ways and also at different time scales, which means that this occurrence will happen repeatedly. Now let's imagine if a person frequently goes for aviation, but the transportation they are using is probably of their own. But in fact, in real life, we can still find many of these examples. So for instance, let's talk about Taylor Swift. Who has recognized 176 flights since January with emissions making more than 8,293 metric tons. A plane emitting about 7,076 metric tons of carbon dioxide, with one luggage trip only lasting for 10 minutes. That's perfect. But that's not what I want to deliver in my speech. What I want to tell to you guys is that there are still public figures who are the opposite of the example I just told you. In addition, they're actually trying to manifest a prosperous world where the climate change isn't getting worse. So let's say Greta Thunberg. I'm sure you all here in this room have already knew who she is. She is a Swedish environmental activist who is always known for crossing abroad countries by sailing. Well now, talking about sailing uses a less refined fuel compared to aircraft, obviously. And if we are comparing aircraft with cruise ships, aircraft generally carries less passenger and also a ship less miles per gallon fuel. And cruise ships may spend the same amount of fuel as aircraft, but cruise ships will carry much more passenger and also a ship more miles per gallon fuel than aircraft does. So that's a few difference between aircraft and cruise ships in this issue. Now in conclusion, what I'm trying to say, what I think is the best solution to outcome to this issue is that aeronautical engineers should produce aircraft under the supervision of an exclusive committee that are mandated to supervise the work of aeronautical engineers. So they can assure that these aeronautical engineers aren't producing aircraft that will require a lot of fuel later because, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that actually the size of the fuel can be custom. And another solution that I think could outcome this issue is that this is more like self-realization. So celebrities should be more aware that going to a public flight is much more better rather than having a private plane for themselves. And I also have a quote that I really like about climate change. So Terry Swearingen once said, "We are living on this world as if we had another one to go to." So by her quote, it means that we should live deservedly because where else will we live if it's not our beloved Earth? So ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Jahroni. Thank you very much for your attention and I hope that you have a nice day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.